Okay, here we go through the Bible, 230 miles an hour on the bullet train, taking a look at things as we go by. But what you find out is even going at that speed and not looking at every verse and every line and digging into every word, you still get the picture of what's going on. So we are almost at the end of the Old Testament. We have just a few more minor prophets to go. Again, we'll say it over and over. The reason that they're called minor prophets is just simply because they're shorter than what we call the major prophets. And these prophets, they prophesied during the same period as the major prophets, the minor prophets did, but they get cataloged the way that they get cataloged. So there's some real interesting stuff in some of these. And plus you can read through them so quick, you can get the whole sort of picture, rather than, going, loads and loads of chapters in some of these other Jeremiah and Isaiah and Ezekiel. And so Zephaniah is interesting. A lot of things interesting about Zephaniah. And we learn some interesting things about him right from verse 1. And it says, the word of the Lord came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah. Well, now that name sounds familiar, Hezekiah. During the reign of Josiah, the son of Amnon, king of Judah. So a lot of biographical information in there. That's the kind of verse that usually a lot of us will just read right over and try to start getting to the meat of the story. But this opening tells us an awful lot about the whole book and an awful lot about the man. Well, first of all, Zephaniah is the great grandson of Hezekiah. He tells you right there what his family tree is like, who's in his family tree, where he came from. And then he tells you the time that he was prophesying. So the last couple of books that we've looked at, we haven't really known exactly when they were prophesying. And a few of them, we didn't know anything about them except for their names. So here, if you know anything about King Hezekiah, which we do, we know quite a bit. We know something about his family tree. We know a little bit about Zephaniah and when he's prophesying. The cool thing is that he's the great-grandson of King Hezekiah. So King Hezekiah turns out to be one of those pretty good kings. There were some really good kings, but he was a pretty good king. And the amazing thing, the thing I like, is that a few generations later, his son, grandkids, great-grandkids are serving the Lord. How cool is that? The heritage that was passed down from Hezekiah, how all of that got passed down and how he becomes, a prophet. We're not told all of that information, but we are told that multi-generational going back to King Hezekiah. Fascinating. And then he tells us when he's prophesying during the reign of Josiah. Now, Josiah, he rules for a little bit, and he's the one where he's trying to get Israel back on track spiritually, and he's having them clean up the temple. Let's get the temple all cleaned up. It's a mess. Let's get some dumpsters and throw all that junk out. And, however it is you did it in the ancient world. And so as they're cleaning up, they find the Bible. They find the book of the law. And they bring the book of the law to him. And he's like, we got to start doing this. Let's start implementing this. So it's during that time that Zephaniah is prophesying. And one of the things so amazing that it says for these kings, and King Josiah finds it and he begins to read the book of the law, and then he wants to implement it and he wants to rule the nation with the book of the law. That'd be great, right? I guess ruling the land with the book of the law. One of the things that it says in the law is that when the king takes the throne, he should read the whole thing. I think it's great. I'd like it if whenever we got a new official, if they just took off some time and read the whole Bible. So, you just got inaugurated. So now sit down, read the whole Bible. And after you read the whole Bible, you can get to work. So that's what's happening with Zephaniah. Chapter 1, verse 2, the Lord speaking. So here's the word of the Lord. I will sweep away everything from the face of the earth, declares the Lord. Well, from the face of the earth, what is this? because usually these guys will prophesy against a region, against a city, against maybe the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom, maybe against both kingdoms, maybe against one of the surrounding nations. But I will sweep away everything from the face of the earth, declares the Lord. I will sweep away both man and beast. I will sweep away the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, and the idols that cause the wicked to stumble. When I destroy all mankind on the face of the earth, declares the Lord, I will stretch out my hand against Judah, against those who live in Jerusalem. I'll destroy every remnant of Baal worship from this place, the very name of the idolatrous priests, to those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host, those who bow down and swear by the Lord, and those who swear by Moloch, those who turn their back from following the Lord, and neither seek the Lord or inquire from him. So he kind of jumps out to the final judgment, to the time when God finally judges the whole world, when God finally judges the whole planet. And a lot of these prophets are prophesying immediately to the situation around them. In fact, most of them are dealing with the immediate situation around them now. And so then some of these prophets, as they begin to prophesy, some of them prophesy about the coming Messiah. And so they're prophesying out in time, further away from their immediate time and their immediate locality. And some of them, like Zephaniah right here, he prophesies all the way out to the end of time. So did in Joel, when Peter quoted Joel in Acts chapter 2. He says, in the latter days, I'll pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters will prophesy, and everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved. And then he goes on and he talks about the time of the very, very end. And so some of these prophets, including Zephaniah, he goes on and he prophesies all the way out to the very end, and he warns them to be a repentant people, and he warns Judah that they need to be serving the Lord so that they don't experience this sort of judgment, kind of encouraging them to repent. So some interesting things here. Chapter 2, he preaches to Judah and Jerusalem that they'll be judged along with the other nations. So on the one hand, Israel, Judah, Jerusalem have a special the Israelite people have a special standing with God. But on the other hand, he also judges them when he judges the other nations. God judges, and he judges Israel. And so chapter 2 talks about that. Chapter 3 is an interesting chapter in that it gets a little bit closer. Judah, remember we said there was the northern kingdom with the 10 tribes and the southern kingdom. Judah, and Jerusalem's the capital in the southern kingdom, and Samaria is in the northern kingdom. And chapter 3 begins to talk about Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem. Here's what he says about the city of Jerusalem. Woe to the city of presses, rebellious and defiled. Wow, so that doesn't sound like the holy city, does it? She obeys no one. She accepts no correction. She doesn't trust in the Lord. She doesn't draw near to her God. Her officials within her are roaring lions. Her rulers are evening wolves. They leave nothing for the morning. Her prophets are unprincipled. They're treacherous people. The priests profane the sanctuary. They do violence to the law. The Lord within her is righteous. He does no wrong. Morning by morning, he dispenses his justice. Every new day, he does not fail. Yet the unrighteous know no shame. And so he goes on and he talks about how he's, we read it. I destroyed the nations. Their strongholds are demolished. I left their streets deserted. Their cities are laid waste. O Jerusalem, of Jerusalem, I thought, surely you will fear me and accept correction. Then her place of refuge would not be among the destroyed, nor all my punishment coming upon her. So there it is. Judgment is coming. Be aware. Be repentant. Now, but again, watch. He always brings this hope, almost always. Not in every prophet, but what he does is he lays out the sin, gives the judgment, and then he says he'll restore them. He'll restore them. Verse 17, the Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves you. He will take great delight in you. His love will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Wow. Amazing. I love that. Rejoice over you with singing. What's that like? You know what I think it's like? I don't want to get all devotional here because we're trying to be factual, just getting through the books of the Bible to put them in their place. I think maybe you've seen this scene where there's a baby in a crib, maybe sleeping, and the mom comes over and just begins to pray over that kid or sing over that kid. And I think that's how God sees us. That's how he sees the city of Jerusalem. That's how he sees you. That's how he sees me. There we are lying down, we're sleeping, and he is over there looking over at us, loving us, and singing over us. The Lord is singing over me. I love it. Hey, so bless you guys. Love you. We'll move into Haggai, and he's a restoration prophet. When they came back out of Babylon, he's one of those prophets that was there when they came out of Babylon. So love you guys. Let's keep moving on. Got a few more small books of the Bible to finish, and then we'll be into the New Testament. Bless you. Love you.